All right, so we're going to talk about South Carolina quarterback LaNorris Sellers and talk about the keys for success for Sellers against Ole Miss's defense. We're going to look at some film, some broadcast footage, so I have to slow it down. I do apologize, but it helps get the point across. So we'll look at a few clips of Ole Miss's defense, a few clips of Sellers. But before we do that, let's talk about Ole Miss's defense first, and then a few keys for Sellers. So far, Ole Miss's defense, their first, I don't want to say real opponent, but the best opponent that they've played, the opponent that has the athletes that can match them, has been Kentucky. But before they played Kentucky, they had Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, and Georgia Southern. And those 4 games combined, they only gave up 22 points. So even with subpar competition, defense still looked dominant. And then against Kentucky, the defense still looked pretty damn good. Only gave up 20 points. And of those 20 points, there had to be a big 4th and 7 deep conversion to lead them down the field. And even on the touchdown from Kentucky to take the lead, there was a fumble that popped out and hit into the guy's hand. So Ole Miss defense still played really well against Kentucky, still had 6 sacks on Vandergriff, was able to confuse them enough. But the one thing that sticks out from watching Ole Miss is their pressure, and not just their pressure overall, but their strategic pressure when they get pressure. A lot of times on third downs, on passing downs, they'll try to confuse the quarterback pre-snap to post-snap, try to show you one thing. So we're going to look at 2 different clips of Ole Miss's defense against Kentucky. We're going to see them get pressure with the blitz, and then pressure just bringing 4 and able to get 2 sacks on Vandergriff in these upcoming clips that we're about to watch. So main takeaway from watching Ole Miss's defense is strategic pressure and trying to confuse the quarterback from pre-snap to post-snap, right? So if you're LaNorris Sellers, what are the keys to success as you're coming back off your ankle injury, right? South Carolina fans can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was his ankle or foot. So main theme that I'm looking for Sellers is continued development. You saw big steps in the Kentucky game from Old Dominion to Kentucky. And I think you were in the process of seeing even bigger steps from Kentucky to the LSU game until he got hurt, right? So can you take another step of development? I think the next step of development is just taking care of the football. He had 2 turnovers against LSU. He had that pick in the end zone and then had the fumble. The knee was almost down, but still fumbled the ball. So I think, in my opinion, the process of taking the next steps is taking care of the football, eliminate turnovers. If you eliminate turnovers, even if Ole Miss is able to get some pressure on you, I think you have a good chance of upsetting Ole Miss this weekend. So main keys for Sellers. Well, I think key number 1, you want to take a page out of Kentucky's playbook. And so what they were able to do was dominate time of possession. They had 39 minutes and change compared to Ole Miss only had 20 minutes and change. So it was they nearly had double the amount of time of possession that Ole Miss had. So you just kept their offense off the field. I think that's number 1, right? So with that said, you're probably going to have to use Sellers' legs in the run game to do that, right? But let's talk about the passing game. I think key number 1 in just the passing game, kind of building off using his legs as a runner, use his legs as a passer, right? Play action, get him out to the pocket, get him comfortable, get him settled in the game. I think that's always key for young quarterbacks. Key number 2, be on time with your throws. Now, we saw development, or we saw process, in my opinion, from Kentucky to LSU. And even the Kentucky game, I thought we saw some really nice clips. The interception he threw against Kentucky, the receiver was open, and we did a breakdown on this a few weeks ago, but the receiver was open. He was just late on his throw, right? And then I'm going to show a few clips of Sellers against LSU where he was on time. It was a good rhythm pass. The ball was on time, even against good contested coverage. So I think be on time with your throws, have a good kind of timing and rapport with your receivers is key. Number 2, then key number 3, I think you may have to hit a deep shot or 2, or at the very least, I think you're going to have more than just short throws, like intermediate throws, which we're going to show a clip of Sellers doing that. And Vandergriff only completed 1 pass against Ole Miss last week, where the ball was thrown 20 yards or more in the air, but it happened to be the biggest pass of the game. It was a 4th and 7 in their own territory, a deep ball that led them to continue to drive down the field. So I don't know if you're going to have a ton of those huge deep throws, but I think you may have to hit on 1 or 2 deep balls, or at least have some intermediate plus type throws to beat Ole Miss, especially if Ole Miss's offense is able to score points. Now, I think South Carolina's defense is stout, and that's a whole different topic, whole different video. But for Sellers, I do think you're going to have to hit on a few deep passes, right? So with that said, before we look at some film, just to recap Sellers, 1, use your legs as a runner to own time of possession, but then let that lead to your legs as a passer, getting out to the pocket, throwing on the run, some play action. Number 2, be in time with your throws. And number 3, I think you're going to have to hit on some intermediate plus, even a deep ball or 2 to beat Ole Miss. So we're going to look at some film real quick. We're going to look at Ole Miss's defense. Again, we're going to look at 2 clips of them getting pressure. Then we're going to look at 3 clips of Sellers demonstrating the type of throws that we want to see him make against Ole Miss's defense. And we're just a big SEC quarterback hub. So if it's your first time watching, please like, share, and subscribe if you like this SEC QB content. So let's go ahead and check out the film. So we're going to check out these two clips from Ole Miss's defense. So we got 3rd and 8 down here against Kentucky. We're going to see Ole Miss brings 5. I don't think they have a stunt here. I know their next clip they do a stunt in the line of scrimmage. We're going to see Ole Miss brings 5. So they do bring a blitz. They get some pressure, and they sack Vandergriff. Again, the 3rd down plays, we're going to watch 2 of them, is when Ole Miss is really trying to heat up the blitz, these 3rd down passing situations. So they bring 5. You're going to see backer comes over here. So actually, do they bring 6? Yeah, actually, they bring 6. I apologize. They bring 6, get pressure on Brock, and able to get a sack here, right? Again, they had 6 sacks on Kentucky. So just because they gave up 20 points against Kentucky and got the loss, the defense still played really well. I think it's a big takeaway not to forget. Okay, clip number 2 from Ole Miss's defense. They just bring 4. I think we're going to see a stunt here. So they do some creative stuff in line of scrimmage to try to confuse not just the quarterback, but the people trying to protect the quarterback. So they bring 4, and they're able to get pressure. So again, this is broadcast footage. I got to slow it down. We do have some all-22, but not enough. Okay, so we see that little stunt here by the D-ends and D-tackle. But it's these guys that get pressure. This guy just wins over there, right? So if you're a South Carolina fan, if you're LaNorris Sellers, knowing they can get pressure blitzing and then get pressure just bringing 4. Now, Vandergriff is a pretty good athlete. Sellers is going to have more athleticism, but Vandergriff is still a pretty good athlete in his own right and wasn't able to escape that. So let's look at Sellers real quick. 3 clips I want to watch of Sellers. And like we talked about, it is using his legs to bootleg and get out, get comfortable, which these are the first 2 passing plays actually against LSU. Let me move this over here. But it's going to use his legs. It's going to be on time. And then it's going to be, I think we're going to have to take an intermediate plus to deep shot or 2 to beat Ole Miss. So here's a quick first passing play of the game. We're going to see a little play action, use his legs, get comfy, just a dump off throw. So it's actually good coverage. So even if he was to get tackled, which he doesn't, but I still think it's a good idea to utilize these type of throws, these type of plays to get him comfortable. He had a few rollouts against Kentucky too that got him comfortable in the game as well. So these type of plays, I think, to help get Sellers comfortable and to help actually utilize him as a runner to help get that clock chewing, just to keep Ole Miss's offense off the field. Right, clip number 2 is going to be a little slant route. Let's see. I'm going to have to move myself here. This is going to be bottom of the screen. So we got boundary side, quick slant route, and he's on time. Notice it's pretty good coverage here. But Sellers is on time, able to make a contested throw, which I think you're probably going to have to make against Ole Miss's defense. Back here, notice he's looking, he's reading, he sees it's man, he sees this backer's going with, is this Sanders, right? He's going with Sanders, so he's throwing right behind the backer, doing exactly what you're taught to do as a quarterback. Wherever the defender goes, that's the space that's open. Let's see, is the receiver going to stay on the screen? He does. Again, pretty good coverage, nice contested throw, good contested catch, right? So again, being on time is key number 2 for Sellers against Ole Miss's defense. And then we'll watch this quick clip of a touchdown against Kentucky. It's going to be a little fake sweep to the running back. Sorry. I moved the video off screen. I apologize. Okay, here we go. It's going to be a fake sweep to the running back, and then we're going to see him hit a little hole shot here. So here we go. Notice that fake sweep. And this isn't a deep ball per se, but it's, 16 yards, so it's still at intermediate plus range, I would categorize it as. And he's able to hit a nice throw against Kentucky, right? So just to kind of recap the keys I want to see from Sellers is, I think, using your legs as a runner to help chew up the clock, but let that lead to key number 1 as a passer, some play action, some bootleg, get comfortable early. And then key number 2, be on time with your throws. Key number 3, I think you're going to have to hit on a deep shot or 2, whether that's explosive, like 20-plus yards, or more of that intermediate range. I don't know, but I think you're going to have to hit on enough to push the ball downfield to beat Ole Miss. So if you're a South Carolina fan, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're an Ole Miss fan, I'm going to try to put a quarterback video for y'all against South Carolina if we have time. But if you're a South Carolina fan, let me know your thoughts on Sellers, what you want to see from Sellers. What do you think the keys are to success to beat Ole Miss? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And also, as always, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It helps us grow. We put out a lot of SEC quarterback content. So thanks for watching. Keep following us along. We'll see you next time. Peace.